Happy Saturday, and I'm praying that you're having an amazing weekend and doing something for yourself. Please make sure you take the time to do something for yourself today. It's so important. We do so much. We stay on that schedule and we forget about self-care. It's so important. Today, I just want to talk to you about fear and foundation. My foundation started off pretty well. My parents were married when they had me. They wanted to have me. I have an older brother, and I was 5 years old when their marriage ended. And my mother moved to another town with a man that I hadn't met before, and this became my new family. And this man molested me. And as a young child, you're dealing with, you're broken from which you normally know, your family, your mother, your father, and your brother. And now you're in this new situation with this person that is an authoritative figure over you, and your mom, and in a different town, not near family. And, you know, what do? I know this is wrong, so I speak on it. And it fell on deaf ears. And at the time, I obviously didn't understand it. It took me a long time to understand it. But my mom's foundation wasn't that great. And she had the same situation, and it fell on deaf ears as she was younger. And unfortunately, this is a generational curse that continues. And a lot of families, we just deal with it instead of addressing it and healing from it. But moving forward, ultimately he did leave, but that seed is already planted. That innocence is already lost. That vulnerability is already there. That unknowing is there. There was no therapy. There was no anything. This man didn't go to jail. There was nothing. So at an early age, I learned to respect people that abused me, to just take it. And moving forward to being a young adult and being in high school, I just wanted to be accepted. I didn't want to be alone. My father was present. He was, and I seen him every weekend. But I just really didn't have a constant male role model in my life. My mom worked a lot. She worked 3 jobs. I was kind of taking care of myself. And it's not to talk badly. My mom's a strong woman, and she did what she thought at the time was the best thing for me and her. But getting back to being a teenager, I wanted to be accepted. I remember being in 8th grade, I was overweight. I've dealt with weight problems since I was a little kid. Let me just lose weight so I can get a boyfriend when I get to high school. That was my mindset, and I just wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved. And I didn't find that. I found the complete opposite. I found men that were using me. Men, not young men, but men, older men, that caught on to that vulnerability, that energy that I was giving out. But moving forward to past that, I met my children's father, and I clung to him. And even though there were so many red flags, I didn't know what a red flag was, and I didn't care what a red flag was. I just didn't want to be alone. And that was a good 20 years of my life, of disappointments, of misery, of disrespect, of still being stuck and not really knowing who I am, and dealing with a lot of things that I shouldn't have dealt with. I lost what I felt like was a lot of time with this man. I also felt like I invested in this man, so I'm supposed to stay with him, even though it was horrible. There was a lot of infidelity. There was plenty of times I was sick with STDs. He wouldn't even tell me that he had contracted anything. I wouldn't find out until I was bent over sick. And I accepted that because I didn't want to be alone. I was afraid of being alone. And I started to see psychics, not knowing that that's wrong, but I did because I wanted to know, why is this happening to me? And the person I went to told me that God needs you to leave this person. You're never going to be happy. You're always going to have tears. And even before I went to the psychic, I knew this man wasn't right for me. I knew it. I always thought that he was going to change, or I could change him. You can't change other people. They have to want to change themselves. And the truth of the matter is, this man was never right for me. I just held on to him for the wrong reasons. And I knew that. And again, that was 20 years of my life that I felt like I invested in this man. So this is my life. This is what it is. And moving forward, as I got older and I had our twins, I really started to understand what God was saying. And I started to understand that I didn't know who I was. I was just being and accepting and thinking that the way this man treated me was going to be the best I was going to get. And I knew it wasn't. It's really hard when you tell yourself that this is the best. I'm the provider of the household. I'm paying all the bills. I'm taking care of this man. I'm buying his cars. I'm literally the one holding it down, and thinking that at some point he's going to get it together. But that fear kept me where I was because I didn't want to be alone. And he knew that and played right into it. I can't tell you how many times I caught him cheating, and I still stayed with this man. I know I'm talking to somebody. I know I'm not the only one out there that has been through this, and I'm praying that by sharing this, it's going to help somebody. But moving past that, I finally understood what God was trying to tell me. He was calling me. He was like, Casondra, you've got to leave this situation, especially for your kids. You don't need them to grow up and be hurt, and the generational curses that are in our family, it would continue. But I wasn't in that mindset. Truth of the matter is, finally, I decided he had to go. And I decided he had to go because I met somebody else. It's the truth. And I'm speaking the truth because it's necessary. Not only for my healing, but for somebody else. There was somebody else that I had met, reconnected with, and I was like, wow, he's the whole package, or so I thought. And so he said, you've got to get your life together. You've got to cut those ties. And at that point, the relationship with my children's father was practically dead. He had beat me up pretty bad earlier in the year, and I knew I needed to get rid of him. But again, the fear of being alone. But it was something about what he said. It's time for this man to go, and I want to see where this situationship it was going to go. And if you see this, it feels good to talk about the truth, because I wasn't completely honest. And I got rid of him. I made him move out. And if anything, it was empowering for the first time to understand I had control of my life. That I didn't have to have someone around just because. Yeah, I didn't have to have anyone around just because. But I wasn't healed. I wasn't healed. And God was calling me, and I still wasn't listening to him. And I started talking to this man, and the red flags were there early. And this time I was starting to recognize them even more. And God was calling me even more, wanting me to get into the reading the Bible and going to church and focusing on him. But I put God on the back burner because I wanted to see where this situationship was going to go with this man. And it didn't go anywhere. When you're feeling the way you are and dealing with situations, you attract practically the same type of people that are dealing with the same situations themselves, unhealed, broken. And that's exactly what I did. And I wanted this man to love me. As I said in my testimony, when I hit rock bottom, I wanted him to love me. I wanted him to see, how amazing of a person I truly am. I only know that now. I just thought that in my mind that he needs to know this. And it didn't work. But out of fear, I stayed again. Out of fear. The signs were there that this man was cheating later on. The signs were there that he wasn't being honest. And he was very narcissistic, just like my children's father. All the signs were there. Even the funny thing is all the detective work I did with my children's father of trying to see if he was cheating, even though I knew it. All the things that he did, I seen it before it was even coming. But I was quiet. I observed, I was quiet, and I just took in the BS. And that is my fault. Because I felt like I didn't deserve any better. Fear. But I tell you, as time went on, I started listening to God more, and I started to understand that fear was blocking me from something bigger. It was blocking me from getting to know who I truly am. Blocking me from understanding that I didn't have to remain where I was, that there was more for me. The enemy did not want me to know who I was, how strong I was, how I am, how amazing I truly am, how giving I truly am. And I'm glad that God told me, you have to stop this. You have to leave. And I did that, as I said in my testimony, and I was scared. So out of everything I just said to you, everything that I just shared, because I shared a lot, but it's important for you to know that people are going through stuff out of fear of moving forward, fear of the unknown. And I'm telling you right now, on the other side of that fear are so many possibilities. Is it possible that you could be happy if you get past that fear? Is it possible that you could succeed if you get past that fear? You cannot let that stop you. God has so many plans for you. But if you're allowing fear to block you, how are you going to ever know what he has? You're not meant to suffer. You're not meant to be in chaos and confusion that is of the devil. God, he is the God of peace. And that's what he wants for you. And please know, if I knew the type of peace I have right now was on the other side of fear, the fear that I had, I would have ran a long time ago to the peace. I would have left that fear and been like, forget this. I don't need to deal with this. Oh my goodness. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful to God, and I give him the glory for this. One more thing. People are so quick to judge others for their decisions, and I know people judged me about my decisions and why I did what I did. We don't know people's foundations. We don't know what they came from, what they were taught, what their environment was like, what they dealt with on a daily basis. There's a reason why people are in the space that they're in, if they're unhappy or miserable or dealing with pain and hurt and depression, anxiety, or coping with using marijuana or drugs, whatever it is. You don't know their foundation. And if we look at people differently and say, wow, they're going through something, let me just pray for them instead of judging them.